Hello everyone, this is FantasyEsque and welcome back to the Sims 4 Vampire Amazon Royal Saga with the Salazar covered. Look at Diana on the right and Jacob on the left, just looking at each other from a distance, like a Romeo and Juliet. My goodness, guys, we have tea. We have some tea. So, before this episode started, before I even did the mini-movie, I figured I would play a little bit off camera so that I can get Diana's vampiric skill, like a ranking, up to Grandmaster, which she is now. And then while I was doing that, I thought I might as well get started on Bloom's training as well. So I was kind of jumping between the two princesses. And at one stage, Bloom went to get some instruction from Eve, who was in the banquet hall. And as she was asking Eve to help out with the training, I flippin' saw Jacob pull Diana into a dip kiss. And then Diana kissed him back. So we had all of that drama going on. And then like Juno was in the background trying to cover her eyes. It was something, guys. It sucks we missed out in the actual video, like seeing this, because it happened so late at such a strange time. But that was kind of the premise for the mini movie. Now let's go ahead and talk about what actually happened at the beginning of this episode. So we started off outside the banquet hall with Juno and Diana. Juno was asking Diana, like, what's going on with you and Lord Jacob? And Diana was up front. She was like, one moment we were dancing, and then he kissed me, and then I kissed him back. And yeah, that's it. And Juno said to her, I wouldn't advise getting involved with Lord Jacob. Like, Lady Elaine and his son, they are complicated people. You don't want to get involved. Keep that in mind. So that was the short exchange they had. And then the next scene was like on the bridge over here, which it seems as though Jacob's still kind of hanging around long after Elaine has left. But it was on the bridge with Jacob and his mother, Lady Elaine. And they were kind of having the same kind of confrontation here. And Elaine was saying, what the hell do you think you're doing? And Jacob was like, what's the problem now, mother? So it seems as though they do have stuff going on in the background that we don't really see. Their relationship seems to be just a little bit tense and a little bit cold. So yeah, there was that. He had some rebellion and bitterness in his tone, I feel, but essentially he was saying, what's the problem now? And Elaine was saying, I have other plans for you, not Princess Diana. And Jacob, I feel like, kind of dropped a bomb on us in his interaction with Elaine. He was like, you're talking about Princess Juno, aren't you? And Elaine said, deal with it, right? Deal with it. Don't test my patience. Otherwise, it'll end badly. And he kind of gave in. He was like, okay, I'll deal with it. And she said, I hope you do. So it seems as though, guys, Elaine has been you know how we had, like, Matchmaker K? He, like, has his eye on Juno right now because he's, like, getting ideas and he's thinking that maybe he can match up some other demon prince with Juno. So Matchmaker K has, like, his own ideas going on. But it seems as though Elaine also has her own ideas going. And Elaine doesn't want Juno to be matched up with some other demon prince. Elaine's actually thinking of proposing a match between her son and Juno. Like, this is just another way for her to control Juno. But she's thinking of proposing a match between Lord Jacob and Juno at some point. But I think Jacob's a teenager right now, so he still has to, become an immortal before that's even possible. But she's planning long term. And that's kind of the thing that's been on her mind. She's already decided his future. We know in the get-go she was hoping, she would have a daughter, but she ended up having a boy. And he's kind of been, I feel like, present with the youngsters, but I haven't really seen any interactions between Elaine and her son. They don't seem like they are a very, warm, loving pair. So I haven't really seen a lot of that, but it seems as though at some point Elaine's kind of decided that actually, even if he is, a boy, he can still be useful. I can make a marriage alliance between him and Juno. I can become Juno's mother-in-law, and then we'll be tied through marriage. right? So that's like another way to control her. So she's got ideas. Jacob obviously wasn't on board with those ideas because he, for whatever reason, just, I don't know if it was impulse or what. You know what I feel? I feel as though Jacob's going through a rebellious stage, and maybe at the banquet hall, like in the birthday party that was happening, Diana just looked really beautiful to him, so he went for it. He didn't think, he just like impulsively went for it because he found her beautiful. And now that his mother's telling him, you know, you shouldn't get involved with her, it's making Diana even more appealing to him. And Diana, I had other stuff I wanted to talk about with her before they pulled this on me. But Diana, guys, when she aged up into a teen, she had some, you know, autonomous interactions with Estelle. I haven't even mentioned this in any of the videos because I keep forgetting and other stuff keeps coming up. But she did have something going on with Estelle. There was some attraction between the two of them. And I thought that might be blooming into, you know, a little bit of something. But then Estelle's been more or less like absent from the main happenings. And in this time, and that's kind of, I suppose, faded away. And now suddenly Jacob's come. And Diana's been so obsessed with Kyra. But then like, now I feel like it's kind of in her mind, like, why not? There's nothing wrong with Jacob. You know, he this is the first time she's ever gone physical with anyone, so it's raising feelings in her and curiosity, I feel like, because it's different from the type of affection she has for Kyra, and it's different from, you know, her dedication to that whole thing. So yeah, she's definitely intrigued by him, but Juno's telling her that's a no-go zone, and for Jacob, his mother is telling him that's a no-go zone. So who knows what's going to happen between the two of them, but yeah, there was that drama. And then we had a scene between Eve and Guinevere where the champion was essentially telling the third princess, sometimes I lose track of like which number they fall into, but yeah, the third princess, saying that you're ready for the final stage of your training. Once you're done with this, I'll be able to focus on Bloom, or put my focus onto Bloom, because now Diana's all but trained. She has to wait until her immortal birthday before she can, you know, complete the whole process. So yeah, we are now picking up at the training grounds with Diana and Jacob like eyeing each other from a distance. This is so funny. So let's go ahead and see how many tries it takes Eve to defeat the champion in a spa and officially complete her training. I'm really excited about this. We've been waiting for a while now. So we are going to go ahead. We are going to do a vampiric spa, and let's see, guys. Let's see. I also have Insta posts to talk about, but we'll get to that at a later stage. So, okay. Come on, you two. Let's have a look. Let's have a look, Eve. Now, do you guys remember how many tries it took Kyra and Juno to win against Guinevere? Because I don't remember. Like, I don't remember at all. If you guys do, please feel free to put that in the comments, because it is like going over my head. Look at how lovely she looks. Okay, let's see, guys. How is she going? Guinevere? I feel like Guinevere is kind of doing well. I don't know. They both seem like they're doing well. They're both grandmasters, to be honest. So it's really anyone's game at this point. Okay, Guinevere won. Guinevere won that first time. Okay. I mean, Guinevere's tough. To be honest, she did win the Flippin' Royal Tournament. So, obviously, she's powerful and she's strong. And you know what? I feel like also Eve has probably been just itching to get into this battle with, like, prove herself against Guinevere, because she was told to sit out of the tournament and she really wanted to participate. So, you know, this whole exchange is meaningful for her in more than one way. Okay, let's Do another spa. I feel as though one of the sisters won like in one go and another one had a couple tries, but I don't remember which one was what. Like, I don't remember how many goes they had. I could be remembering it wrong because, you know, we've done this process many times in the past. I could be mixing things up. I could totally be mixing things up. And Diana's just over here watching. You know what? I feel like Diana's like fascinated by this. She is just obsessed with everything that is going to make her as good as Kyra. And maybe she feels as though watching this and observing this is going to be really helpful to her own personal development as a vampiress. So I can see her being invested in like this whole fight. Okay, take 2, guys. Round 2. Oh, that was so quick. Oh, wow. Did you guys see that? Did you see that? The first battle they had, oh my goodness, the very first battle they had, they were like fighting each other for a while and it was kind of 50-50 and in the end Guinevere won. But then the second battle was so quick. It was so quick and Eve won. Okay, so guys, she's completed her training now. And you know what? This is kind of scary. But this makes me feel as though, yes, she was a bit too ego in the first battle, you know, out to prove herself and all these other things. And maybe she underestimated Guinevere because she went in a little bit cocky thinking, oh, if I fought in the Royal Tournament, I would have been able to win against her. So she, you know, overestimated herself and she lost against Guinevere. But I think she observed the battle, the first battle they had, and she picked out like Guinevere's weaknesses. And then she went in with a more kind of balanced mind frame in the second one, and she was able to defeat Guinevere real quick. So I feel like she studied that first battle and she made some quick calculations in her head, and then she went in and she absolutely smashed Guinevere. Oh my goodness. Okay, so she has completed her training. Congratulations, Eve! Guys, you know how I've been saying for like the entirety of Eve's teenhood that I want her to be queen? I mean, we know she is gorgeous though. We know she's never gonna have children. She doesn't want children. So if, you know, she becomes queen, she is going to make one of her nieces heiress. So I've been wanting her to be queen, and I think that would be so exciting, especially in terms of the breeding order. Like, we always breed the queen always goes every second breeding is the way I like to do it. And I know some of us feel as though that doesn't give the other ladies much chance to have children, but I don't care. This is the way I like to play. I feel like royalty should get more chances to have children, because honestly, if the noble lines die out, it doesn't matter. If the Salazars die out, the series will end. So, yeah, that's kind of the more important thing. But I feel like if, you know, she became queen because she doesn't want children, we wouldn't have that every second breeding for the queen. So then it would just be like all of the noble ladies, or, you know, the other princesses breeding, and, you know, obviously by that point they'd be demoted to ladies, so all the other ladies would be breeding, and they probably have more chances to have children, so, or, you know, have a daughter. So I think that would be very, very interesting for breeding purposes, and that's kind of why I want, and also just the plot line of having a queen choose one of her nieces to be, you know, the next, like the heiress, I feel like would be interesting. And for that reason, I've been wanting Eve to be queen and rooting for Eve. But to be honest, when she aged up, and, you know, she looks gorgeous now. I've said that so many times. And I can see her being an absolutely entrancing queen. But with the trait that she got, guys, she got the, like, paranoid trait. She's paranoid. And we talked about this. We talked about how that's kind of manifesting and influencing her thought process. And I feel like a paranoid queen, specifically with with Eve's background, is a very dangerous queen to have on the throne. I personally feel like it is very dangerous for Eve to be on the throne as a ruler. Like, I know we all feel as though Eden is like a crappy monarch and a crappy mother, but do we honestly think Eve is going to be, with the way her personality has developed, do we honestly think Eve is going to be better than her own mother? I don't know. I honestly feel as though, I mean, I'm not sure about Diana at this point. We know she's, got an obsession with Kyra, so I don't know about her, but I feel like Kyra, Juno, or even Bloom would make a better queen than Eve. That's just my opinion right now. I mean, out of the current sisters, like, I have to say now, like, I think I really like Eve right now. Eve's my current favorite. Eve is my current favorite among her sisters, but I don't know if she would be a good queen. I feel like that's dangerous territory. But okay, we have wrapped that up. Now let's go ahead and actually talk about the posts. Everyone's still chilling at the banquet hall. Like, why not? Why not? We have, like, the Day of the Goddess coming up. I might skip a bunch of stuff and maybe just pop in for, like, the wishing well things. But let's talk about the the posts that were made. So we had one post. I think the first post was between, it was checking in on Princess Eve, and it had her and Cattleya, like, by the fireplace here, looking at the music box and listening to the music box. And essentially, Eve was talking about how she is, an immortal at last, and to be honest, it feels better than she imagined it would, and she was very happy that she can start relying on herself more because, others have proven unworthy. And I think this is in relation to how she feels about Eden. We talked about this last time. She doesn't care if Eden says Eden loves her. She doesn't necessarily believe that. She's skeptical of a lot of things and suspicious of people's behavior. So yeah, she was talking about that. And then she was listening, to the music box with her second mother, Lady Cattleya. And at the end of it, Cattleya wished her, a happy birthday. And she was being really, like, warm and inviting with the way she was speaking. And Eve, being suspicious, she was like, what game is she playing at? Because she knows that Cattleya and her aren't that close. She can, like, count on her hands the amount of times they've spoken since she's moved into the castle. So she was just really confused by Cattleya's behavior. And she was like, why are you trying to chummy up to me? So that was the first post. And then we had a post checking in on the priestess, Lady Lexi. So she was speaking to Bloom, and she was kind of just saying how, Bloom has aged up into such a lovely young woman, and she looks very beautiful, and, she's got a sweet face and such, but she dresses a little bit scruffy. If only she would pay more attention to her appearance. She'd be a little bit more regal if she just tidied up her hair a bit. And then she was thinking, like, maybe I should, like, pray for her to, maybe I should pray and see if she finds some appropriate guidance at some point, or, hopefully the goddess blesses her with a good life and she doesn't have a lot of difficulties, because Bloom kind of has a, innocent sort of appearance. And we talked about her personality and how, I don't know if naive is the right word, but she's got a very idyllic view of life. And so Lexi was kind of just observing that when she was speaking to her, but then she was saying, I don't know if the goddess is going to, I don't know if the temple, prayer of the temple is going to influence her behavior. I'd probably be better off just going to Eve and asking Eve to guide her, because she does listen to everything Eve says. So that was that. Although, to be honest, I don't know if Eve would care enough about Bloom's appearance to, like, tell her to tidy up a bit more. I feel like Eve is self-centered in that way. So, yeah, that was the second post. And then we had a third post, which was checking in on Lady Elaine. So, Lady Elaine, essentially, saw Cattleya and, she saw Cattleya and Eve talking by the fireplace, and then she kind of just, like, walked up to them, and they had, like, a little bit of a confrontation. So she had, like, a bit of a confrontation with Cattleya, and the third post was about that. So essentially, Elaine was watching this whole thing go down, and she was essentially thinking, like, what, like, am I surprised that Cattleya is trying to get closer to Princess Eve? Probably not, but, like, why is it? She was being really mean, though. She was, like, scathing in the way she was talking about him. Like, why is she trying to appear thoughtful? But then she was saying, like, everyone knows all Cattleya thinks about is how to get into the queen's bed. And even that probably uses up a lot of her imagination. Or, you know, strains her imagination. And then she basically walked up to, you know, Cattleya and Eve talking with each other. And she warned Eve. She was like, you know, I can't just stand by. I have to warn Eve to keep her distance from her second mother. So she went up to Eve and she told Eve, you know, you better not get too close, otherwise she's gonna, you know, marry you off to some demon spawn like she's done with Kyra. And Cattleya was, like, not happy with that at all. But then Elaine was like, do I really care what she thinks? Nope. So yeah, that was the third post that happened. So a few things occurred between the members. And so after the posts, and then before the mini movie, we had, like, when I was playing off camera, the whole thing with Jacob and Juno, where he pulled her into a dip kiss. So yeah, that stuff happened, guys. Stuff has happened since the last episode. But I will link the Instagram posts in the video description, and then also the Patreon post for those things that I talked about. But okay, let me go ahead, set up these guys for the Day of the Goddess, so we can, you know, make the offerings and such, and then we'll be right back. Okay, it is the Day of the Goddess, and everyone is at the temple. We are going to really quickly go ahead and make the necessary offerings. So the priestess, of course, is going to go first. She's going to come here. She is going to make an offering, and then wish for everyone's, you know, health and safety and such, and the goddess's blessings, especially given all of the pretty big events that have been happening recently. I mean, we have the, you know, match between Kyra and Mordred, the engagement that happened. Everyone's kind of attention is on that. We had a bunch of birthdays of late, so we're going through a very important stage. So go ahead and we will wish for happiness, of course. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. Nice. So had she completed her thing? Okay, I think. Is this a good sign or is this a bad sign? I'm not entirely sure. Okay. Oh no! Okay, so what? Was her plea ignored? Okay, I'm not entirely sure what happened there. Her plea seems to have been ignored. But okay, now she's going to go ahead and she is going to pick her second. So, you know, the sim in here that has the lowest relationship with her. And they don't, I am pretty sure they don't ever pick the queen. So yeah, the queen's always excluded, I'm fairly sure, is how it works. Queen's always excluded because they don't want to risk the queen's life and, you know, everything they do, everyone they lose, and also just all of the, you know, the prayers, thoughts, it's all to preserve the life of the queen because the queen represents, you know, the queendom. So I don't think the queen would be included. But it can be any of, like, the princesses or just anyone. It can be anyone else. So she's gonna go ahead and do that. Let's take a look at a relationship panel. And oh, she had the lowest with Eden actually, but then Delphi's like not too far behind, and like we said, the queen can't be picked as a second. So it's Delphi. And you know what? Recently, we have seen over the past couple of episodes, Lexi making an effort to befriend, whatchamacallit, some of the other characters, but also some of the other characters trying to befriend Lexi. I don't know why I keep thinking. I think I'm mixing like Lucille and Lexi, and sometimes I think of them as Lucy. But yeah, Lexi. They've been trying to befriend Lexi, and I keep amounting that to maybe they want prayers from her, but actually, like, now I'm thinking, they probably know the Day of the Goddess is approaching, and they know how this whole thing works, so they're probably making an, active effort to be on her good side so they don't get chosen to be the second. Some of them probably have that as their motive. But okay, Lady Delphi is up to make the next offering, and, hold on a second. She's up to make the next offering and also do her prayers. So let's go ahead and do this. Has she ever participated as a second? I'm not entirely sure. I feel like Eve has, Juno has, and Kyra has. Like, all of their lives have previously been on the line. We have had some very scary instances. Okay. Let's wish for happiness. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and wish for that. Okay, this seems to be good. It seems to be a good sign, guys. Oh, nice. Okay, so it seems as though all the prayers were accepted, which is like really good, because that gives us an indication that whatever has happened in this past season, the goddess is very pleased, guys. The goddess is very, very pleased. So I suppose this match with the demon faction, anything else that has been happening, the goddess is like on board with it. Well, that's great. What else do we have in terms of dates? So we do have actually Delphi's birthday coming up. So I'm actually wondering, guys. I'm wondering if I should play off camera, because we don't have like a whole heap of stuff going on between now and then. I'm wondering if we should play off camera till we get to Delphi's birthday, and then I can do like the second half of this episode focused on Delphi aging up. I think that might be the way to go. So you know what? We'll do that. I can use this time to actually train up Bloom, because Diana's already a Grandmaster, so really I'm just focusing on Bloom. So I'll use this time to train up Bloom, and then we'll come back the second half of this episode when Delphi's ready to have her birthday. So I'll see you guys then. Okay, it's nighttime. The Day of the Goddess is going to be over pretty soon, like in 3-4 hours at this point. And we had like a few interactions that I kind of wanted to get done, or a few whims to complete. I've been working on some of the friendships that they've been holding on to, like the desires for a while now. So I kind of just cleared some of those. And then I figured, you know what, let's go do some of these things that they want. Just some quick interactions. Oh, yep. That is totally something that Bloom would do, like fitness. So get these interactions done, because we do have time. I feel like we have time till Delphi's birthday. I mean, there's still going to be like a day after this for me to play through, but I don't know. I'll see. I want to get Delphi's birthday done in this episode. I'm going to try my best. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. For now, though, Bloom wants to chat with Eden, so let's go ahead and do that. Oh, Queenie's still meditating? Really? Honey, who's like still in here? Hold on a second. Who's still meditating? Because everyone else has kind of gone off and they're doing their own thing. Oh, look at that. The Queen and her 2 eldest daughters. They're the ones meditating. Well, you go chat with Mother Dearest. Let's go check in on Eden. Have a quick discussion with her. I feel like she would maybe be a little excitable reporting back to the Queen, or maybe talking to her mother about, you know, how well her training's going, and all of that, and also probably her excitement for the fact that Eve is like in the clear now. So, you know, Eve, she completed the entire process. So she's like on the same level as Juno and Kyra at this point. But why not? I mean, just before she had a birthday as well, the Queen and her were having like a bit of a heart-to-heart. So I feel like Bloom would, she's kind of in that zone right now, which feels close to her mother. So she'd be, you know, running back to her with all these tidbits. So go ahead and chat with her. There we go, there we go. You know, I wonder sometimes how it is to be Bloom and see Kyra and Juno. Like, yes, they're sisters, but I don't know, it feels a bit strange. Like, I feel like she would be not that, I don't know if comfortable is the right word for it exactly, but I imagine with Eve, she doesn't really care too much about being put together, whereas, you know, when you're with people that you're not too familiar with, you try and be a little bit more cautious, and you try and be a little bit more put together. I feel like she's that way with Kyra and Juno, because, you know, she's like the second youngest, and these two are like the two oldest. So we've got that, and then I think, you know what, Lucille, she's been wanting to like stargaze with Guinevere for a long time, and they did have like this, you know, blooming romance that we haven't really gotten to see much of, because we haven't been able to do exactly that. You know what? Why don't we... Yes, Guinevere is upset right now. She's mourning. You know what? She's probably mourning Lagatha. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Why don't we try and get her mind off that by stargazing with her? So, Lucille, she's probably going to notice that Guinevere's not with the rest of them, and that Guinevere was seeming a bit down, and then she's going to go out and investigate and, you know, see Guinevere by the graveyard and mourning for Lagatha probably, and she's going to want to help get a mind off things. Oh my goodness, maybe she wasn't mourning for Lagatha. That's Griffin's ghost! That's Griffin's ghost! You know what? Maybe she's mourning her dead sons! That's right, guys. We're still, like, caught up with Lagatha and stuff, but I feel like, I mean, I forget at times, but she also, you know, she had children who died. She had these sons who passed away as a result of the Sunlight Massacre. So, you know what? Maybe that's who she's mourning. Maybe she's thinking about her sons. Oh my goodness. And they're both like red ghosts. It's been a while since I've seen even Sage, but I did see him wandering around the castle in his red self, enraged self. I saw that at some point. And you know what? I like still haven't gotten their like screenshots up, and I've been saying for a while that I'm gonna do it. I actually did do a post, but my internet was like being really weird, and the post, like, it didn't happen, or it didn't count, it got deleted, and like I wrote a bunch of things, and I was kind of like, ugh, I can't be bothered to write again. So I have yet to get back on that bandwagon, but I will, especially now that I have like the original shot of Sage and Griffin when they were alive, like when they first aged up into teens and they had their makeovers in front of the castle. I have that screenshot, and then I have another screenshot of Sage as like a red ghost in the castle, and now I have a screenshot of Griffin as a red ghost, so I may just go ahead and like pop them up at the same time. Okay, so the other interaction I think was with Cattleya. So Cattleya, oh, look at that! She's right in front of the queen! She's been wanting to ask Eden, like check in on Eden, and ask Eden about her day. And Eden's like right in front of her, like waiting. Okay, hold on. Small talk? Is that it? Yeah, let's check in on Eden. Let's see how Eden's going. I mean, this is her, like, 75% of her concern is always Eden, I feel like. 50% is being a little bit nice. if we think about it from Elaine's perspective, she probably thinks Cattleya doesn't have brain space for anything other than Eden. Which is so mean, but it's funny. I've said this in the comments, I think, but Eden and Cattleya are my most hated characters in the entire series, / most hated couple in the entire series. Like, I really don't like them. I really don't like them. I mean, yes, I don't like Eden at all, but even Eden and Cattleya, like, I liked that mainly because of, what am I saying, Cattleya? Catherine, sorry. Eden and Catherine. I liked that more than this relationship solely because of Catherine. Like, really. Just because of Catherine. Okay, so she is still feeling tense. You know what? It's probably that whole confrontation she had with Elaine. She's been feeling tense about that, and then she probably, like, is checking in on Eden as a way to segue the conversation and complain about Elaine, and then maybe the queen's like brushed it off and she's like feeling a little bit annoyed that she's not being listened to, because I feel like maybe the queen's like, oh, you know, she didn't mean it or whatever else, so let's not cause too much of a big deal. It was in public, we had guests, there are other important things to worry about, and Cattleya is just annoyed. Well, too bad, Cattleya. Deal with it. Okay, I think I should be able to play through the day, and then this episode probably will run a little bit longer at this point. But hey, that's fine. Okay, everyone's in the dining room ready to have this birthday celebration for Delphi to turn into a young adult. And guys, there is so much off-camera drama happening in this episode, because as everyone was like settling around the table, guess what happened? So obviously, you know, the demons, they are on the castle grounds along with some of the other youngsters. Anyways, Kyra's over here just standing, and mind you, she and Mordred have not really spoken to each other except for like the greeting at the banquet hall, and then obviously when they got engaged, that little exchange they had. Even since then, they have not spoken to each other. What just happened? Well, Mordred, I'm just setting things up here, and then I noticed Mordred just walk into the dining room, pull Kyra into a kiss, and then walk away. That's right. That's flippin' right. So Kyra just, you know, had a first kiss with Mordred. They are engaged at this point, yes. But I was just so shocked because I haven't even seen them speak to each other in the game yet, apart from, you know, those conversations that I mentioned. And to be honest, I know we all had, like, a certain image of Mordred when he was introduced. But I feel like for Kyra, it's been the same, right? It's been the same. She's on the same wavelength as us. But I feel like after that conversation she had with him, following their engagement, like at the front of the cafe, I think she realized that there is more to Mordred than she initially thought there was, and that he is not entirely as he seems. So there is some aspect of intrigue there, but at the same time, she hasn't exactly been that motivated to find out more about him. But I think this situation that just happened with, like, Mordred coming in and, you know, grabbing him, I feel like now she's been confronted with, like, their future, you know? Like, I feel like she's now been forced to actually consider how she feels about him and actually consider what life would look like with him in the future. She's kind of been putting it off in her mind, but that just cemented it. I was like, what? And she wasn't upset about it afterwards. She didn't reject him, and she wasn't upset about it. Like, she could have pushed him away, but she didn't. I mean, it was a surprise, but she kind of let him go on with it. And then she was kind of a bit confused, and, you know, he left. So, I don't know. I feel like this is gonna, like, linger on her mind for a while now. That's just gonna be like at the back of her head for a while now. And again, it was like off camera. Guys, the off camera tea that we are having. And if we look at their relationship, look at this, guys. There is some pink there. There is pink there finally. When they were engaged, even after their engagement, there was like nothing. There was no romance. But now she's definitely thinking about him. I feel like maybe if he had like pulled this before the engagement, she would have definitely pushed him away. But because she had that conversation with him and her perspective of him has like shifted very slightly, I think she was kind of more open to potentially something happening. She wouldn't have initiated it on her own, I feel. But when he did it, she wasn't quick to like shove him off. So that happened. So yeah, a lot of stuff in this episode. A lot of off-camera tea. But Delphi, she can finally blow out the candles, so let's go ahead and do that. She's gonna be aging into a... Oh, okay. I guess... No! Don't go to Academy. She even like changed her out. Honey. Don't worry about that. Hold on a second, guys. Why are you running off? Don't do it. Get back into your lovely formal gown. Come here, blow out the candles. Academy can wait. The youngsters just up and left. They were like, yeah, education is more important than witnessing you aging up. That was rude, guys. That was rude. But let's come here. Let's get her to age up. She's gonna be a young adult. She's not an immortal, of course, so, you know, she'll continue to age, but she's been a teen lady this whole time, and now she's coming into her own, which is exciting. Okay, Delphi, here we go. She's obviously not going to look that much different. Well, not until she has makeup. Oh! So, I feel like I've been confused about this in the past. I feel like I have. And I feel like I'm getting deja vu. I feel like I've talked about this as well before, but I've probably forgotten. So, if your Sims, I'm assuming that the reason this doesn't come up every single time is that sometimes the Sims, they age up below a certain grade. Like, their school grades aren't that great, and maybe if your school grades aren't that great, the game just, that's like kind of the penalty. The game doesn't give you an additional trait, and maybe if you age up with a certain grade, then you get this trait, but like, it doesn't matter, because even if the game doesn't have this pop-up, I usually go into CAS and I randomize the trait for them. But I'm assuming that's the case. I can't check a grade right now, but I have, because I know recently I've been getting them to do their homework. Well, she is adventurous, and she is clumsy. So what trait is she gonna have? So we'll randomize. If I really feel like it doesn't fit, I'll change it. Like, I'll roll it again, but we'll try and incorporate whatever she gets. What is this? Freegan. Freegan. You know what? I mean, I suppose you could interpret this as her being like, maybe she's like really attached to things that other people consider unimportant and things that other people throw away, and she's like overly sentimental about them. I can kind of see that, especially like if you look at the history of her family and how everyone has died in their traitors, and you know, even though she's serving, maybe people condemn her mother and her aunt and yada yada yada. And there's probably like stuff they've left behind, you know, they're like witchy books, they're alchemy books, and other resources, maybe like wands, brooms, stuff they've left behind that maybe some of the others consider like taboo and they don't like using it or touching it. But for her, she doesn't care what people think about about that. She feels like she's done enough to redeem her bloodline, and also she feels like it's like an incredible waste of knowledge per se. You know, like for example, some of the books that might be left behind, she feels is an incredible waste of knowledge to kind of just throw away and leave. It's like a resource, and it's also like a memory for her. So I can see her being freegan. I can see that. Okay. There we go. We'll let her be a freegan. Why not? Why not? In terms of... I don't know what we'd have for, like, these kind of things. Maybe something... Actually, yeah, the potion one probably makes the most sense for her. Okay, well, that's Delphi, guys. All in all, I get, like, very, very minimalist living, down-to-earth sort of person who's sentimental. That's what I'm getting from Delphi. But okay, let me go ahead, give her a makeover, and then we'll jump back in. And honestly, after the makeover, like from the next episode, I'll definitely have to update her image in the intro, because, you know, she's gonna be a young adult. I mean, she is a young adult at this point. So, yeah, okay, let me go ahead, work that out, and we'll be right back. Okay, I have finished Lady Delphi's makeover. This is how she looks, fully transformed. She's got a black theme in all of her outfits, which I know Elaine also has black, but it just looked really good on Delphi. And to be honest, she's got like this. I mean, she's not an immortal at all, but she looks very dark and very vampiric in the way that she dresses and, you know, her whole color scheme. And then I think I've got white accents here and there. And then in her everyday, she's got this like really bold red lip, which I love. It seriously looks like she's going to bite you, but she can't because she's not a vampire. But you know what? I feel like this is very good. She looks a little bit scary, essentially. To me, she looks a little bit scary, and I'm saying this because I feel like it's good, especially with people like Lord Darrell. Oh no, Prince Darrell, sorry. Because remember a few episodes back when Darrell, he dragged Delphi off into the bathroom and then he bit her and drank her blood forcefully? Yeah, I remember that. And then he swore her to secrecy so she can't tell anyone, especially Eve. Yeah, I feel like Delphi would have been a little bit traumatized by that, and at least with the way, like, the kind of aura she's trying to give off now as a young adult is, don't mess with me. Like, if you bite me, I will bite you back. I feel like that is what it's like warning signs. That's what she's giving me right now, with those lips especially. So, I love it. Her hair is down now, and it's got, like, these ringlets at the camera. Ooh, okay. That was like laggy, yes. But this is Delphi, guys. This is Delphi. You know what? I feel like the red eyes, like with the eye genetics we have, all of the eye colors, they're pretty, like, visible, except for the red eyes. Do you guys feel the same way? The red eyes to me look the most natural out of all the colors we have, but also it's hard to tell. Like, they don't really stand out that much. They kind of fade away. So, yeah. Anyways, that's kind of intriguing. But her hair, what was I talking about? She's got these ringlets, guys. Look, she's got these ringlets. So they're not in braids, and they're not tied up into buns anymore either. But that is what we have for Delphi. And I've already gone through and, you know, talked about her personality, so we don't really need to chat too much in regards to that. Oh, and, you know, she doesn't have a dark form or anything like that. She does look a little bit tense. I think there was a fire at some point today. There was a fire at some point, but I love the way she looks. She looks so cool. But I definitely have to update the image in the intro, and I'll do that for, like, the next episode. But guys, hold on a second. What am I checking? Right. Autonomy needs to be on full, but also when I dived back into the lot, because I took, Delphi out to another household to do a makeover because we have way too many Sims and I don't accidentally delete anyone, which, if you jump into cast, that will happen. So I took Delphi out, and then when I brought her back in, these Sims, they had like generated some new wants, and we got some interesting stuff going, guys. So I quickly want to just go over those wants before we wrap up the episode. Let's see. So Princess Bloom, she wants to chat with Kyra. She's intrigued, possibly. Diana, she's obsessed with Kyra. She wants to also chat with her. Princess Eve wants to chat with Princess Ice. So, she's wanting to check in on one of her younger minions. That makes sense. You don't have anything. Lexi, Elaine. Okay, Juno. Is Juno involved with anyone right now? Is she romantically involved with anyone? Well, apparently she's got something going on with Lexi, but I don't know. Maybe it's just like flirtation. I don't think she's been involved with anyone actually since Azura died. That was the only relationship she had. And then, the unrequited love with Sage. So yeah, nothing there, but she has been wanting to flirt with Lord Xander. So, that might be something fleeting. She also wants to chat with Princess Kyra, her sister. Let's see, Guinevere, nothing of interest. Eden wants to woohoo with Lady Cattleya, no surprise there. Cattleya wants to chat with Lady Delphi. She's recently aged up, so, maybe it's something to do with that. Delphi doesn't have anything interesting, but the person who had the most fascinating want, guys, and I did skip her, is actually Princess Kyra. What want does Princess Kyra have, guys? She wants to get married to Prince Mordred. She's like rolled this on her own at this point. So, she got engaged not too long ago. I did tell you guys about the off-camera tea that happened right over here, where, he just marched up to her and planted one on her lips. We talked about that, and her kind of confused but also not offended reaction, and how she was now forced to think about their potential future and all of that. I don't know what has transpired in her brain space since then, but obviously Kyra, I suppose, has decided to kind of stop fighting this whole thing and actually give in to the marriage and pursue this marriage. She's made up, yes, circumstances forced her into this situation, but I think she's made up her own mind following that about marrying Prince Mordred. So it's not as though this marriage at this point is being forced. She's thinking that she's ready to commit to it. Up until this point, she's been dragged along, but she's ready to commit to it. Which is very interesting. So I'll definitely have to, at some point, slot in a marriage somewhere. I'm not entirely sure when we're gonna do that. We have, the Autumn Caravan coming up. And then I suppose we have, some space over here. Then we have Ice's birthday. We've got the council reappointment. And then, Throne Jubilation, which I don't know if we're going to continue with that. You know what? I might just... Because I'm going through a phase right now where I'm wanting to, get rid of some of the holidays. So we might actually go ahead and get rid of some of the holidays. Some of the stuff I don't mind too much, but other things, I don't know. I feel like maybe the queen would be over it, or there'd be some changes that she wants. Things that she liked as a young ruler, she doesn't necessarily feel is as important now. So, the council reappointment, that's kind of important. Keeping stuff like that, even the Day of the Goddess, that's important. And the flippin' Royal Tournament, that's important. But when it comes to the Autumn Caravan and the Winter Escape, I don't know. I'll have to see whether we choose to pursue those or we don't. And then we have what? Diana's immortal birthday here, the week after. We have Bloom's immortal birthday, and based on these like dates, I'm assuming that Ice's birthday might be, like her immortal birthday might be somewhere here. So actually guys, projecting into the future, we have to wait until like Ice, the youngest one, has completed her training before we can like challenge the queen and finish the season. And assuming Ice, because at this point like I'm doing pretty good, like I'm able to get all of the princesses completing their training like on their birthdays when they become an immortal, because I'm ranking up quite well. But if we continue on that streak, and assuming Ice's birthday is like over here, we'll be able to wrap up the season, like challenge the queen, probably around this area. So not until like spring in the game. So if you're trying to keep track of maybe the seasons and like when we might be finishing generation 6, it'll probably be when spring comes. That's when the generation is going to end for us. So this is kind of the space we have. This is how many episodes we have, space we have to play around with. But I'm also playing, you know, a lot off camera, so I don't know how I want to do that. I'll have to see. But yeah, I will wrap up the episode here, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.